Jay here, Stretford Paddock. Bit of breaking news about Ahmad being injured, and it looks like potentially out for the season. So we are live. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Excuse me if my voice is going. Sorry for being late. Yeah, I've just been sort of crying in the corner, in the fetal position, devastated. What feels like an almost fatal blow to our season. I mean, we're going to get into it. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Let us know what you think about this. What do you think this means for Manchester United's season? Obviously, in the league, we're all over the gaff, but we do have the FA Cup and the Europa League to play for. We know how vital Ahmad is for us. We've also got other injuries as well. Kobbie Mainoo's out for a little while. Ugarte's out. Toby Collier's out. We're going to be getting into all that. So let us know what you think about all these latest news stories. And also make sure you are hitting that like button, please, people. Don, that's a bit of a funny one there. Dan Finette says, Ahmad has done nothing in his last few games. We will be fine. A name I can't read there says, Jay looks on the brink of tears and self-destruction. I'm not on the brink of self-destruction, although I do feel like crying, to be honest with you. It's not just this, is it? It's everything at the minute at Manchester United. I'm going to get into it, right? So let's start with the reason we're here, the raison d'etre, as they say. Amad Diallo. Sorry, Ahmad. He doesn't use the Diallo, does he? Ahmad out for the season. So this was Chris Wheeler, who's been on the channel, broke this story about an hour and a half ago, I think it was, and then it's been updated 45 minutes ago. And it says, exclusive, Man United star Amad Diallo could be out for the season after suffering injury in training as Ruben Amorim is hit with devastating blow. Man United forward picked up an injury in training earlier this week. There are fears that he may not play again this season due to the injury blow. Goes on to say, Ahmad may not play again for Manchester United this season after suffering ankle ligament damage before Sunday's game at Tottenham. Obviously, that's tomorrow. It says here, Diallo was hurt in training this week and he's still being assessed, but he's expected to be out for at least 2 months. The news is another bitter blow to head coach Ruben Amorim, who's also lost Kobbie Mainoo, Manuel Ugarte, and Toby Collyer for the trip to Spurs. After all three midfielders were injured in training this week. What is going on in training? We just seem to be injuring everyone, or everyone's getting injured in training, which is really disconcerting, to be honest with you. I mean, look, you know, anyone who watches this channel knows my thoughts on Ahmad. I love the kid. I think he's a fantastic footballer, and I was crying out for him to get more minutes. He got more minutes, mainly when Ten Hag left, and he smashed it. You know, we saw the hat-trick against Southampton, the performance and the handing the penalty at the Etihad, and scoring the second goal at the Etihad as well, obviously. I mean, he's just been phenomenal. But one thing that has worried me, and this isn't a criticism of him, but is how reliant we've become on him. It's almost like if Ahmad doesn't do anything, I don't see who else does. Yes, Bruno Fernandes is always capable of getting you a goal, and we've seen Joshua Zirkzee score, Rasmus Højlund has scored in the past, but it looks like our front line has just lost a little bit of its edge, and it's all on Ahmad at the minute. Now, for him to be out, I mean, that just feels like, I don't want to be too despondent, because we are still in 2 cup competitions, and Manchester United will always have a puncher's chance of winning any cup competition we're in. We saw it last season with the FA Cup. No one thought we'd beat Liverpool, did they, on Klopp's farewell tour? One of the reasons we did, obviously, was because of Ahmad. No one thought we were going to beat Manchester City in the FA Cup final, but we did. So you can't ever count Manchester United out of a cup competition, even a Manchester United team that is struggling. But let's not kid ourselves. It's going to be very difficult for United to win anything this season when we're missing basically our best attacker. Certainly at the minute, he's our best attacker. You may argue that others are better than him, but right now, he is our most productive and our biggest danger that we've got in that forward line. Rasmus Højlund's struggling. Joshua Zirkzee's not really quite got going. Garnacho's not quite been the player he was last season, or the season before, I should say. We've obviously let Anthony and Marcus Rashford go out on loan. Jadon Sancho seems like a distant memory. We are lightweight in the attacking department, and we need Ahmad. He's been vital to us, and now he's out. Harry Potter said squad is hella thin now. Dan Finette says, this is how we discovered players like Rashford. Chris Holt says, imagine the kids lead us to Europa League glory. I'll get into that now, actually, about some of the youngsters, because it is a fair point. I get that. We've had it before where, you know, young players, whether that's Marcus Rashford coming in or just other players who fitted in because of injury, and they've shone, and Manchester United have done well because of it. But, you know, it's not a given, is it? And also, in the past, we've had a lot of youngsters who've played minutes, who've had experience when they've been brought into the team. Now we're looking at some youngsters who haven't even played for the first team. So there was a story from our mate Academy Scoop earlier, Finn, who's on the Academy review, and he said, breaking Chido Obi, Seka Kone, Harry Amas, and Eli Harrison have all travelled with the first team squad to face Spurs, joining Jack Morehouse. So because of the injuries we've got, it looks like Ruben Amorim is promoting some of the younger players, the players I've mentioned there, to the first team squad, which I get and I like. I think that I don't like the fact we've got injuries, but I like the fact we're turning to these young players and saying, look, you can do a job, but it shouldn't distract from the fact that we are struggling. We are losing key players, especially in the short term. Kobbie Mainoo is a key player. Manuel Ugarte is a key player. And Ahmad is as well. So to lose those three, let's not forget we've already lost Lisandro Martinez, who's another key player. Luke Shaw, who people just forgot about, but if he was fit, he'd be playing. Luke Shaw, he's out. Mason Mount has not really got going since he arrived from Chelsea, basically, because of injuries. I mean, we have had injury issues over this last sort of 6 months, but it's coming to the front now. And the last few weeks, and certainly the last 24 hours, has been pretty disastrous. Now, never count Manchester United out. I know that, and you know that as well as anyone. We've always had that ability to bounce back, to come back from looks like the brink of just the worst situation possible, and gone on to shine, gone on to flourish, gone on to prove all the critics wrong. But it is going to be very, very difficult this season for Manchester United to win the FA Cup or to win the Europa League. And if you look at the league, what are we playing for in the league? What? To finish in the top half? Maybe. I mean, that seems to be the only realistic goal. I don't even think we've got a chance of making the Europa League, to be honest with you. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know what you think. I'm trying not to be too negative, but you have to be realistic. Losing Ahmad, as well as some of the other injuries I've mentioned, I mean, the Ahmad one is the biggest blow because it's more long-term. I mean, it's grim times for Ruben Amorim. I really do feel sorry for him. Unreliable Door Hinge, which is a fantastic name, says, we've had injury issues the past 3 years. We have. Judas says, not getting a forward in January after getting rid of 2 is looking far worse right now. LMAO. I mean, I get it. It is looking terrible, but I suppose the powers that be will argue we haven't got the money and PSR and all the rest of it, and we have to sell to buy. It's just annoying that we've been left in this position. I don't think we've been left in this position just because of January. I think we've been left in this position because of misspending and mismanagement. We have spent far too much on transfer fees, on wages, on players who are nowhere near good enough for Manchester United. And now we are in this position where we're over-reliant on certain players. And those players get injured. And we're sat here thinking, what are we going to do? I mean, are we going to slip further down the league? That seems unthinkable, doesn't it? But it can happen. Of course it can. It could happen. It can start happening tomorrow. We could easily lose it against Spurs. So it is a really troubling time. Diego Santos says the game schedule is killing teams. I've seen that argument made before. Tamil says Ineos are killing us. Frank F says, if Everton win, we could go to the lofty heights of 12th tomorrow. We won't, but we could. Nathan Tudor asks a good question. Is this going to push Chido Obi into the first team faster than expected? Potentially. Out of all the players we've got who could go into the first team, he seems like the most obvious candidate, doesn't he? Out of all the young players, I should say, we've got who could go into the first team, he feels like the one who you think, there's a lot of noise around now. We speak to Finn every week, and Finn's been waxing lyrical about him, but Finn has said he expects him to get minutes this season, but he hasn't said he expects him to start or anything like that. I just wonder whether those minutes are going to end up happening sooner rather than later because of the situation we find ourselves in. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, in it. You want to give youngsters the opportunity. You want them to shine, especially at Manchester United. That's what we're about, giving the younger players a chance. That is what this club has been built on, going back to the Busby Babes, to Fergie's fledglings, even to more recently, the likes of Kobbie Mainoo, of course, coming through the academy and making a big impact on that first team. However, you don't want to rush players too soon. That is how you've got to balance it properly. Sam Ford in the Super Chat says, injuries could force Amorim into playing 4-2-3-1. It's the only way we can inject some threat and familiarity with the players, youngsters we have fit. Let me know what you think about that. Should he go back to 4-3-2-1? I need to stop reading that same person. I was just going on and on and on about Ahmad and slagging him off constantly. It's getting boring. FPL Frost says, Ahmad confirms long-term injury. I'm extremely disappointed to be writing this message. Unfortunately, I will be out sometime with an injury. I will come back stronger than ever. Right, I've read that from FPL Frost. I'm going to go to, I take it it's on, is that on Instagram? Sorry, let me have a look now. I know this is not great, is it? Let me see. Yep. It is. I'm seeing it on Instagram. Yeah. He says, so I'll read it again. Sorry, not that I've not just read it, but I'll read it again. So he's posted this on Instagram. Extremely disappointed to be writing this message in such a crucial time of the season. Unfortunately, I will be out for some time with an injury. I will come back stronger than ever. Time to support the boys from the outside. Still loads to play for. And then he's got that emoji and a heart emoji as well. I mean, obviously he's going to be devastated, isn't he? And we're devastated for him. He's worked so hard, Ahmad, to get into Manchester United's first team. This was a player who barely got a look in, really. When he first arrived, there was all these sort of dramas and these news or reports that maybe been brought to Italy as part of some child trafficking thing. I don't think that was obviously the case, but he came to Manchester United after playing 60 minutes of professional football, a lot of pressure on him, big money move. Then he goes out on loan. I think he went to Rangers, didn't he? Then he went to Sunderland, absolutely smashed it at Sunderland. Started off well at Rangers, then I think he struggled a little bit, smashed his at Sunderland. Then it's difficult for him to get into the Manchester United team or even the squad. Does get some minutes, does get some opportunities, makes the most of them, puts in some good performances, not least of all against Liverpool in the FA Cup quarter-final, was it last season? And then you get into this season where he becomes absolutely vital. He becomes one of your best players. And this is after as well. He was in and out of the team again under Eric Ten Hag, but Ruben Amorim comes in well. Ruud van Nistelrooy seems to recognise straight away how important he was. Then Ruben Amorim. And since then, he's been an essential part of Manchester United's team and arguably our best attacker. And now he suffers an injury. I do feel for the kid because he's been through a lot. Coach Zach, USMC vet, says going to have to rely on Carrington, accept a bad season, play the kids and get behind them, support them no matter what. That is a great point. We have to get behind these kids now. If they're coming into the first team, we have to show them the support and the patience and the understanding that they deserve as well, because it became one of them kind of when youngsters come in and everyone's like, oh, we've got to support them. And then if they're having a bad game, then you can see people getting angry with him or getting frustrated. We just need to give them the support they deserve because it's not their fault that they're being thrust into this situation. But hopefully they can shine. Let me know what you think. Do you think it is time to go with the youngsters? I'm a bit worried about this midfield tomorrow because if we've not got Collyer, we've not got Ugarte, we've not got Mainoo, I don't think you can have Casemiro and Eriksen as an option. We saw that against was it Ipswich? He tried it, and then against Newcastle. The game against Newcastle was a complete disaster at Old Trafford, and you could see that just wasn't working. So I just feel like that can't be an option. That can't be a midfield. Whether he mixes it up, maybe puts Bruno in there, and then sort of has Garnacho and maybe Xerxes as your two tens with Hoyland leading the line. Don't know. Let me know what you think. IR says need Mazraoui in midfield. Ali P says Fernandez and Yoro. He says Lollipop says, "Oh my God, could this season get any worse?" What's like that meme in it? The worst day of your life so far, or whatever it is, with Johnny Depp. Jao Chanoka says Garnacho and Xerxes will have an extra role, maybe playing 3-4-1-2 with Garnacho behind Xerxes and Hoyland with Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro as midfielders. Yeah, potentially. Cameron Gibson says you've got to trust in Carrington. If they're good enough, they are old enough. I get that, right? And I like that saying. My only worry is, are we in a position where we have no choice? You want options. You want to be able to say, okay, this kid is good enough. Let's give him a go. Or this kid is forcing the issue. He's forcing his way into the team. We've seen Sir Alex Ferguson give kids a chance who sort of you wouldn't expect it. Well, look at Kiko Makeda. Kiko Makeda more or less won us the title. I think that equaled us with the Scousers at the time when he came on and scored the winner against Aston Villa. And this was in a team that was full of experience, and, 12 10 titles, whatever it was, under Alex Ferguson at the time. So I think it was 11 actually. So it's not just Ruben Amorim or whoever who's thought of that or has to do that. We've seen it before with managers, United managers. What makes Manchester United is the faith in youngsters. It's just whether we're having to do it because we're forced to. That's the only issue. Santa Notch is in the chat. Good to see. Notch says, I feared a time where the injury list would hot up. Of course, it happens as soon as the Jan transfer window is done. That is the frustrating thing about all this, isn't it? It has to happen when we can't go out and get someone. Because you could have made maybe a loan signing or maybe a couple of deals. We will basically have to throw that in or mainly have kids on the bench, says Santa Notch. But we're down to bare bones here, aren't we? We are down to bare bones. I mean, when you look at Lisandro Martinez injury, that was devastating. But at the very least, you can say, okay, you've got Lenny Yoro, we brought in Aiden Heaven, got Harry Maguire, you've got Mateus de Ligt, you can even play Mazraoui there. Who knows what's going to happen with Luke Shaw if he's going to feature in the team if he's going to be fit. But if he is, he can be an option. So you look at options there. Midfield though, to lose Ugarte, Mainoo, and Collyer is a bit of a blow because at least one of those would have been starting, if not two. And then the Ahmad news. So have Ahmad out for pretty much what we gather is the season. He's just devastated. Coach Zach says it here again in a super chat. He says Leacher and Ahmad are the two players we couldn't lose. I think that's not a bad shout. I think they're two of our most important players. I really do. And to lose them both within what a couple of weeks of each other for the season as well, it looks like both for the season is it's just devastating. It really isn't it? I mean, we will keep going. Obviously, I'm not just going to fold the club. We keep going. We're Manchester United, but it's going to be a very, very difficult few months for Ruben Amorim. It really is. And what I worry about is, I don't want to be too negative, but let's be realistic. If we lose to Fulham at Old Trafford at the end of the month or beginning of March, you're out of the FA Cup, then it is just everything is on that Europa. Everything. And then if you get knocked out or when you get knocked out, your season's done in it. Because what you're playing for then to finish mid-table. It's just not great, is it? Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat and comments. Hit that like button as well, please, people. Kone is ready, says Mystical Goose. He had a very good game, I think, against was it Oldham the other week he played at, when he was running the show. You see a lot of clips on him. Finn, Academy Scoop, has been praising him. Is he ready for the first team? Probably not quite, but who knows? Maybe he gets that nod because of the situation and he gets, takes the opportunity. Who knows? Let us know what you think. Harry Potter says we've absolutely nothing to lose at this stage. Get the kids on. Why not? I mean, I think that's going to happen at some point, isn't it? I don't know if they're going to start or if they're going to just come off the bench, but I think youngsters will feature. I think they'll feature tomorrow. I think they've got to. No, Garcia says we are so cooked. Kone and Ericsson or Casemiro, says Poax. Ugarte, Mainoo, and Ugarte, is that what I said, or is that just someone laughing? Sorry, I meant to say Ugarte, Mainoo, and Collyer. Season is gone. Let them gather some experience, says Sebastian. I mean, look, the season isn't over, is it? We've still got 2 trophies to play for. And I think as Manchester United fans, we should always not expect, but hope, if that's the right word, that we can win things and, not give up on them because we've always been able to do that. I mean, Jesus wept. After Munich, we got to the FA Cup final the same season. Right, this is a team that is renowned for rising like a phoenix from the flames. We know all that. So let's not just say that's it now. We can't win anything. We're in those competitions in the FA Cup and the Europa League. Of course, we can still win them. Manchester United can win the Europa League even without Ahmad. It's just going to be very difficult. That's the issue. I'm not saying it's impossible. Of course, it's not. But it is hard because he's such an essential player for us. And it'll be interesting to see the nature of some of the other injuries. How long is Kobbie Mainoo out? Another vital player for us. How long is Manuel Ugarte out? A player that has become very, very important for us. Even Toby Collyer, and I say even, not because I'm dismissing the lad, but because he's only made his debut this season. Even he's become a player that you kind of rely on. I know he doesn't always start, but he's the sort of first one off the bench when you need someone in that midfield with a bit of energy, with a bit of legs. It's very difficult, isn't it? It's very worrying. I do. Hit that like button, please, people. Let us know what you think. Jimmy says Amorim's babes doesn't quite work that. I, I don't know. It's, you can try that. Fact says so. We have no youth with the run already. Can we play Mazraoui in the middle of the park? Says Akash K. We tried him in. Remember when was it? Tried him in the 10. That didn't quite work. Maybe he can play in the middle of the park. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Amorim's amoebas, says EUV2. Ruben's rookies, as someone said earlier, says IR. That works, doesn't it? Ruben's rookies. I know it's a bit American, but we'll take it. Listen, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you to everyone who's got involved in the chat and the comments. We're going to be back tomorrow with the watch along. It's going to be me, Joe, Scotty, plus we'll be getting reaction from Howson and Andy Tate and everyone after the game as well. So make sure if you're not doing, do hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, make sure if you've not done, send us your score prediction. Send it to paddockmatchday@gmail.com because you'll be able to reference this now, won't you? Film yourself in landscape on your phone, send it to that address I've just said, and we'll use you as part of the match build-up. I've been Jay. This has been a bit of breaking news. Ahmad looks like he's out for the season, but is United season done? Hopefully not. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.